The reality of actually making a strong communication, particularly with the wider spread of customers, we found that to be very difficult. Looking at low spenders in the past, I've always been aware that we've got a number of low spenders in the past and people who have accounts that actually don't spend with us. But it's always proven very difficult to get our people to make those follow-up phone calls to sort of ask people why they're not doing it. Our people are great at doing reactive sales, but feel most uncomfortable doing proactive sales. So we've been looking for something that will actually provide us with a tool to be able to contact our customer, make it much easier to have a conversation and a dialogue with. Well, we've considered a loyalty scheme for some time and what would be the best method of doing that together, and we've looked around at what other people, particularly our competitors, have been doing. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you've got to have a reason for contacting the customers. You've got to be able to offer them something. And so the key really from a loyalty scheme from our point of view was to persuade our existing customers, if they had an account with us but actually didn't spend with us, or new customers who currently weren't spending anything with us, to try MKM, get involved in using us, if over a period of the loyalty scheme itself they thought that our levels of service and the way that we dealt with them was much better than competitors, we'd keep those customers for life. We chose First4Loyalty because they gave us a lot more flexibility than some of the other schemes, and one of the things that we've got such a wide spread of different types of customers that we needed to have a scheme that was flexible, and so we could offer people lots of different alternatives.
We engage with our customers in a variety of different ways, really. With the business model being owner-managed, the branch directors are very heavily involved with the customers, and kind of in lots of instances they're actually friends, really, because they've traded with each other over so many years. First4Loyalty have done a great job with us. We're really making good progress, and it's a learning curve for all of us, and I don't think that they hide that. They're in to learn as much as they can from our experiences as they have from others. With our low spending customers, it's slightly more complicated because there's so much more of them. There's a much higher volume of low spending customers. So in fairness, we've kind of tried to touch them in the past, but it does tend to be in a bit of an ad hoc basis. They do generally get the e-shots for the promotions, for example, and we usually communicate them with any activities we've got from a category management perspective. But really from a stand of a loyalty or to retain their business or increase their spend, it's very difficult, and we've done little bits and pieces, but just on an ad hoc basis and nothing really as a group in the past. So we considered a loyalty scheme for that customer base because it seemed like a good way to kind of increase our customers' spending with us. It also helped to stretch across all product categories. So rather than having promotional activity in, say, timber or, say, in insulation, it meant that we could reward our customers no matter what product they spent, and really kind of gave them the opportunity to engage with us. We also felt that we'd be reaching those customers that don't necessarily have a strong relationship with us and don't necessarily have a huge experience of working with us. So it meant we could capture all people in kind of one hit, really. We did quite an extensive piece of research looking at what was available, looking at what our competitors did, but also what happened outside the industry as well, because obviously we need to be looking at the retail environment as a whole and not just the builder's merchant. So we did quite an extensive pitch on looking at the competitors, see what they were doing, and we did meet a couple of other providers of a similar service to the First4Loyalty scheme. Well, kind of First4Loyalty came up with their scheme, and they were really helpful in kind of explaining the flexibility of it, to be honest. With the other schemes that we looked at, they were all very kind of group-oriented activities. And with this kind of customer, we wanted them to be able to do things independently. And we also wanted to touch customers from sort of a really low spending point to sort of a bit more, but really it was quite a wide spectrum of the targets we were wanting people to stretch to. And so this kind of scheme helped people at different levels get a reward that was appropriate to their spend levels, but was also a really brilliant experience. It wasn't just a big holiday. Once we'd agreed and the documents had been signed up and were all systems go with First4Loyalty, it was a pretty speedy process, to be perfectly honest. The main thing was understanding the customer data, looking at the customer data, and understanding those customers to approach which they helped with. They also helped us kind of assess what the spend levels should be for each of the tiers, and actually how the scheme would be formulated. Would there be 2 schemes? Would there be 3 schemes? How many tiers would be within that scheme, and what the reward was. It was really helpful to get their experience really on what really hooks the customer, what percentage should we be giving them, how we're really going to get those customers to really get on board with it. And their experience was invaluable in helping us create what the MKM scheme has become. So to date, initially we approached 10,000 customers, so that was an actual task in itself. Those 10,000 customers, we had 35% take up, which we were absolutely delighted with. was the initial kind of goal we'd set ourselves, was 30%. Of those spending at the moment, our sales have increased by around about 50%, although there's a lot more that we can do. I think there's that added value that you can't measure, to be perfectly honest, with actually a customer just feel valued by the fact that you're actually trying to engage with them. So whether it's a call or it's a piece of direct mail or it's an e-shop, in the majority of cases, those customers probably haven't heard that much from us, and it has been a little bit ad hoc. So I think the value is to actually make the customers feel like we're actually interested in them. And I think that's been one of the benefits, that whether they're in spending at the moment, or whether they haven't yet got a project that's appropriate for our business, or whether their customers actually buying the materials at this moment in time, therefore they're not spending with us. But I feel that actually just kind of giving them a bit of a cuddle and saying, you know, we're here when you're ready, is actually a big value in itself. I'm really impressed with it so far. I'm really pleased about the number of customers initially we took on. I was, absolutely mind blown by that, which was phenomenal. I'm pleased with the sales increase so far on the loyalty scheme, but obviously, as always, we can do more, but a lot of it is about the branch engagement. From a First4Loyalty perspective, I think the communication between the businesses is pretty good. So the way that it's actually the process that we've set up, the website, the brochures, the telesales that we've actually put in place, and the system and process as a whole is working really well. There's lots of open communication, it's really flexible. Whenever we've got problems that need escalating, they're resolved really quickly. So I think from a process point of view, the scheme's running really smoothly.
What's my overall view of the loyalty scheme? I think it's early days. I think so far we've seen some success. I think there's a lot more that we can do to make it work much better for us. But I think it's more on our side rather than on First4Loyalty's side. I think that we need to get the branches to communicate more, make the phone calls, encourage the customers that this is a real opportunity for them to spend more money with us.
So I would recommend First4Loyalty to other schemes and other people, although I don't want them to have the same success that we've had, because it's our big secret.
I definitely recommend First4Loyalty to any other business. They're an easy company to work with. They've got a great scheme, and if anybody wants to call us and ask our thoughts, then give us a call.